Hi, Ben. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I want you to introduce yourself. So first, start with your first name, last name, and exactly your title, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, my name is Ben Keith. I use they, them pronouns. I work for Walmart Connect. I am our strategy and business development manager for diversity, equity, and inclusion. So yeah, that's a little bit me.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's a big title.
It's a mouthful.
It is. So tell me how you got involved with CIS.
Well, so many people say they don't know where to find talent. And to that, I say you did one Google search, I'm assuming. So naturally, Walmart Connect is the digital retailer for Walmart. So I started to look for organizations with specific backgrounds to either matching our organization, like sales, product, operations, or digital retail advertising, retail or media advertising. And CIS came up. So naturally, Black and brown women, we know have been historically excluded from a lot of things, but I've always been here, always been doing that work. So I reached out to Chantal, set up an initial conversation. I mean, it's a no-brainer. You could tell everything looks immaculate here. So we signed up last year as the title or champion sponsor, and this year we're the title sponsor. So
Wow.
yeah, just a simple Google search that took a little bit longer than a quick minute. So
That's so interesting that your company actually reached out, because usually it's the other way around. Why did Walmart Connect see such value in Sisters in Sales?
So Walmart Connect has been growing a lot. I started about 5 years ago when it was about 60 to 80 people. We're now over 1,800. So we've been moving fast. Sales was one of our largest departments within our organization.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, if we want to talk about diversifying the network, you have to look for the people that have that experience. And this is it. I mean, if you want to meet Black and brown women in sales, this is the conference to be at. So yeah, I mean, for me, and it's indicative that I reached out, honestly. I'm a very collaborative person. I let Chantal know up front. I let all the organizations we partnered with this year. I am not the person that's putting the logo on, and that's all you're hearing from me. You're going to get emails. You're going to know that I want to be there. You're going to figure out what activations we need to put in the space. Like, I'm a partner. And that's what I really want to believe in and create is partner relationships that last for a year, not just a one and done summit or conference. And so yeah, I mean, Chantal is incredible, and I feel privileged that she allowed Walmart into the space, because we know the reality, right? Not everyone is going to think Walmart is synonymous with this. So for her to take that chance, I mean, we're privileged to be here, and we're excited to be here 2 years in a row, and we look forward to more.
Well, that's so amazing. And from what I understand, you did win an award. So, talk a little bit about that. I'm sorry, it's the award's name is just missing me right now, but please talk about it. I'm excited to hear.
It was Corporate Sponsor of the Year.
Okay.
I know I'm not a big fan of Spotlight, but this work tends to keep putting me in it. And obviously when Chantal sent that, I was very humbled and surprised. I believe the work that I do is bare minimum of just being a decent person. So when it gets recognized, I know as a society we have a long way to go, but it is nice and it does mean something. And so that was the gala on Thursday night. And it was one of the highlights of my career. I mean, this community, as I said in my speech, has been so monumental into so much of America, but also in my own personal journey when I was exploring my identity and my sense of style. And, I always had like Black women hyping me up on the street, like at events. And so, my mom is someone who was very passionate about the Black community and just equality and justice. I mean, she protested all the time. There were times I'd come home and I'd be like, where is she? And then I found out she was arrested because she was protesting.
Oh my God.
Yeah, nothing like major. My mom is a white woman. So
Okay.
she lucked out. One time her arrest was literally lemonade at a soccer game until they let her go.
Oh my
So
God.
we know the disparities exist and she's aware of them too, which is why she was fighting for them. But it really did set me up for something like this. So when the award came, I really can't express how much gratitude I have for it and how privileged I am to have been even acknowledged by the community that I want to support. And it means so much more. There are so many things out there now that you can get accolades, recognition, but when it comes from that community, it just means that like, not only do I see you, but I'm being seen. And I feel really thankful and just hoping to continue to make this community proud, make Chantal proud. And, and I'm proud to work at the work that Walmart is doing,
Right.
because Walmart allows us to show up in these spaces. Walmart believes in these spaces.
Yeah.
It's still been a whirlwind. I still have it on my desk right now, and it's heavy. It's a heavy award.
Yeah.
So taking it on that plane, I probably have to take it on my carry-on because it'll weigh that bag down. But I'm just really, really thankful. And yeah, I could
That's
go on. But
amazing. That's amazing, Ben. I like that quote that you just said. Not only am I able to see you, but you see me. I'm not sure if it was that. That was really powerful. And I think that allyship is such an important aspect to this conference, right? We heard yesterday from people who are not Black women, right? But they said allyship. As long as I could support with allyship, and I'm sure you understand that too. Talk a little bit about that.
yeah, I feel like allyship is the new buzzword when it comes to DEI and support. There's degrees, and I think allyship, we can't succeed unless as people we come together. This is a shared humanity experience. And I use Black Panther as a big example of this. Black Panther, obviously a success in the community. They showed up and showed out, but so did everyone. That's why it hit the record numbers that it hit, because everyone went behind it, right? That's what we need. I think people get confused. Allyship is not just, putting a black square on your Instagram, right? It's understanding that you weren't supposed to do that,
Yeah.
and knowing what the square was for to help Black members of the community. It's also making sure that you're a vocal advocate when people aren't in the room, or when they are. I mean, there are times where someone might not feel comfortable speaking up, and you do. Right? Like, I observe a lot of privilege. I look white and male presenting despite being non-binary. So I know that when I walk into a room, and obviously I'm dressed a little different. I'm not trying to dress up, be on brand for cis, but I dress a little different when I'm at work. And I know that when I walk into a room, I don't have as much to overcome, especially with the historical exclusions that people have had. So with allies, I think it's really important that you're doing more than just saying it. It is really an action, an advocate. You're vocal. You're doing more than just kind of saying, oh yeah, I support this, or this is right. Like, yes, but what are you actually doing? And also, what are you learning about the network? It's one thing to believe in equality and justice for all, but if you're not understanding the difference of the tribulations that the API community has been through, to the Black community, to the Hispanic community, to the queer community, how do you know how to show up and support? You can't. It's not a one and done. It's not, a cookie cutter. Everyone needs something, and you are going to need something different than the other Black women in this room.
Right,
so how do I support you with the totality of supporting Black women? Right? It's very different, and I think that's what I would encourage allies to push for. I think we find a lot of complacency, and I never want to be that person. So when we see allies here, it's really great that they're in here. Their companies are investing, they're believing in it, and I just encourage them to keep pushing and keep learning, and don't just rest on showing up. Showing up is only one piece of it.
Right. So if you were speaking with a recruiter who works in sales, and I think a lot of recruiters, they want to, I guess, identify with someone who looks like them, right? What would you tell that person? How would you advocate for Black women to get into these spaces? Because there is not a lot of Black women in sales right now.
Yeah, I think trying to omit the personal feelings and bring your data, bring your data, right? If you're a seller, you know what you did, you know what deals you've closed, you know what new clients you've brought on, dollar amounts. Lead with that, and then you can add the idea of and also I bring a different perspective. Right, if you're the hiring manager or the recruiter happens to be a white male or a Latinx woman, they're going to have a very different lived experience. So you can bring more to them than they would expect, and you can also get them more comfortable in rooms, because the reality is, if you're trying to close a sales deal, and sales usually goes global, right? Sure, it can stay within the US, but if you have a homogenous team and you walk into the room and it's a bunch of Black women, and you have any Black people or Black women, how are you going to relate? And are you going to feel what would be your first thought if you saw that happening? A bunch of, cis white
I'd walk out.
Right, exactly. Deal done. Bye.
Right.
So, I think lead with your data, lead with your results, and then lead with the perspective you can bring. I let's just say I'm optimistic. I hope that navigation is changing, and that we are seeing more opportunity and less hurdles for Black women to jump through in these organizations. I know that's not 100% there, but I think working for a company like Walmart, we're also seeing a little bit of a difference, because Walmart is so open and constantly does this work on check unconscious biases and create equal opportunities and create this culture of belonging. I mean, our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives are really that input to the output of being belonging. So I think that helps me feel a little bit better, but I do know that that's not all companies. So yeah, I mean, lead with data, lead with results, and lead with your unique perspective. And I think that you're selling yourself, essentially.
Yeah, that's very solid advice. That's very solid advice. Being non-binary, when you first started identifying as non-binary in these corporate spaces, what was your experience like?
I feel privileged that I was working at a place that was really good, because once I got my DE&I role, that was when I was like, how am I going to preach authenticity? And I'm not living that way.
Mm-hmm.
I've always gone by he, him. I know I look male presenting. I started going by he, they a little bit just to kind of test it. And I realized that was solely for the comfortability of others. So then I just did it. I think I actually have a post on LinkedIn, which I need to get better about posting on there, but I had a post on there about it. I changed my pronouns at work. They're all there, so people see that. Most people respect it. I mean, leaders across the industry, not just at Walmart Connect, but Walmart, they actively try and make sure they're using the correct one, not just for me, but for others of the team. And one of our associates here today, she's also someone that goes by she, they pronouns. So I think the education that's out there is so amazing. I had no idea when I was younger. I only knew gay people, lesbians, and I learned about transgender people later on in life. I had no idea about all these complexities to sexuality and gender. So I feel fortunate that this company allows me to show up authentically and as myself, and that they all are willing to work on it. I also am realistic, and that's advice I would give to all queer individuals or non-binary people is like, be realistic. We've grown up with these systemic inequities and these ideas of these binary systems. It takes a minute for people to break out of that. So just give grace, and you can correct, you can kind of coach people, you can do whatever you need to do. But again, like if you have a company that's not allowing you to feel that way, we're hiring. Let's just say that.
Listen, they're hiring y'all. I like that. I like that. How is I want to wrap up, but how was the week? Just the entire week. It was such an experience. Yesterday was my first day here, and I loved the energy. I feel like there was just this connectedness or connectivity, I should say. What was the week like for you?
The week's been amazing. I mean, we had a Walmart Connect networking brunch with Sisters in Sales on Wednesday. So our week started about that, and then the gala was Thursday, and then we've had these conference days. I mean, it was the same last week. Just the energy in the room, the people, they're so open, they're so loving, they're so wanting to learn, they're wanting to go together, they're wanting to support each other. This group recognizes that there's enough to go around, and they uplift each other, which is amazing. Honestly, last time when I left, I was texting Chantal, and I was like, I have an emotional hangover. Like, I am so euphoric from this experience, and that's how it's feeling. It's already feeling bittersweet, right? Like I know it's coming to an end, but she created more than a summit here. It's not just where you're going to come and learn how to up-level your sales skills or your leadership. Like you will, but you're going to leave with a community of hundreds of Black and brown women that want to see you succeed and will applaud as you're going. And how often do you get that every day? So the energy has been amazing. The week has been amazing. And I'm already looking forward to next year.
Wow. Being one of the biggest sponsors for CIS, what advice could you give us to make it even better for next year, even bigger?
There's not a lot I could say. And I tell Chantal this all the time. I'm like, you need to tell me what you want, and I'm going to work with you. Like, if a sponsor comes in and tries to take over, I mean, that's kind of exactly against what we're trying to do here. Yeah. So Chantal texts me as she's coming up with these themes and these ideas, and that's how it helps me figure out what speakers to find, what Walmart activations to bring. I mean, honestly, it's immaculate. Like, I don't think there's much feedback. I mean, this company is 6 years old. Yeah. I can only imagine the blowout we're going to have at the 10-year anniversary, because it's going to live longer than that. So yeah, I mean, I don't really have a lot of feedback. It's been great. I think the setup is amazing. The flow of the building is amazing. The way the programming has worked is amazing. And I'm just glad and privileged that they allow us in this space, and that we're allowed to work with them creatively to bring brands like Luna Magic and For You by Tia Mari, and also Black Paper Party for all the swag bags that you're seeing. They designed that, and those are 3 Walmart suppliers. Wow. And they're all Black female owned. So again, just like Chantal is incredibly intentional, as am I. I was not about to just bring anything random here. Yeah. I want it to be products that are made by this community, for this community, to their community. So yeah, I mean, just keep me in the loop of what you're doing, and I'll try and make sure that we're elevating it or working together. But yeah, I do not really have.
That's amazing.
Anything.
That's amazing. I love it. What are you working on right now, and how can we support you?
My job is a big catch-all. We go from associates to suppliers to conferences like this to recruiting and retention. My main thing, and actually I'm working with the CMO at CIS to try and figure out what our activations will look like throughout the year. Like I said, I don't just do one summit. So this year, last fiscal year, we were at CES together, and we created a space at the largest technology conference in Vegas for Black and brown women, because how often are they seen in that space? So we had a little lounge takeover with a cocktail hour to learn about CIS, to learn about brands like Luna Magic, and we're going to try and continue that. So just perception building, partnership is really important. And then the other things that I'm trying to figure out and learn is, there's a revenue tied to DE&I, and I want to make sure that we're finding that and that we're the people that can afford to do it are doing it, and the people that need the support are the ones that we can support and take up and lift to get to that place where they can hold the door open.
Yeah. So. I love that. What about in your personal life? Can we support you in any type of way?
I mean, you already have been. Like I really, like I said, there is a reason that I don't pick favorite communities.
Yeah.
But there is a reason why this one has been so important to me. Like, you have been supporting me since day one and uplifting me since day one. And I'm just glad that I have an ability in a workplace that allows me to do that as well. So just by you living in your authenticity, looking like this, being fabulous and doing everything you're doing, that's supporting me. Like, be you, be authentic, and know that you belong, you're worthy, you're valid, and just keep living in that truth.
Come through affirmations. We love that. Thank you so much, Ben, for sharing your light, your wisdom, your advice. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.